The U.S. government owns all of this property. Right now, the Ottawa Tribe Police Department oversees this area, and they will not hesitate to arrest you if you go into some of these areas.
This is the News on 6, 10 o'clock update.
Beneath the earth in Ottawa County lies a danger that's been festering for years.
Then there have been allegations of government mismanagement and incompetence.
What we see here is behavioral problems and learning difficulties.
We thought the government, since we were the first Superfund site, we were the worst, that they would come in and do what they ought to do. We didn't know that they would leave us.
So imagine for just a minute that you lived in a town of 16,000 people. You know all your neighbors know you. Your very community did its part to ensure American victory in both World War I and World War II. And now your neighbor's house just fell into a sinkhole. And to compound matters, you were just informed that the reason your kid is having behavioral issues is because they have lead poisoning. If that wasn't bad enough, now you and your family are being forced to leave the only home you have. This exact scenario played out in a small town called Picher, Oklahoma, and it is now known as the most toxic city in North America. Well, we really can't call it a city now. It was disincorporated by the state in 2012. The lead and zinc poisoning in this town is literally so bad, it may take hundreds of years just to clean up, and some of it can't ever be cleaned up. Now, a lot of you may ask, who came to help these people? Well, basically nobody. Many of them ended up homeless. No jobs, no money, no home. I'm gonna head to Picher just because I want to see it personally, but I would caution you against going. It's kind of a dangerous place. And while nobody really lives there anymore, I think the last thing we all want is somebody to fall into a sinkhole or you to go into one of these buildings there and it cave in on you. Now, throughout this video, you're gonna hear me refer to Picher as being in an exclusion zone. And to an extent that is actually correct. It doesn't mean you can't go in there, it just means you can't live in that area. I think you'll understand why. Okay folks, it is early in the morning and I am in Miami, Oklahoma. Not to be confused with Miami, Florida, which would be a hell of a lot warmer if I was there, but I'm about 10-15 miles south of the exclusion zone, and then I'm gonna drive in there here in just a minute. So let's get there.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Oklahoma 25 East.
No thank you, Google. I'd rather not. Oh my God.
like literally 1 or 2 miles away, and I can already see the chat piles. They look like mountains from here. That is insane.
So here we are at the exclusion zone for the Tar Creek Superfund site. As you can see, the town is completely abandoned. The federal government came in and forced almost everybody out in buyouts, which was all well and good. And then a few years back, a tornado came through here and pretty much finished off what was left of the town. But it's really sad because, man, these were people's homes. Chat piles, they're just all over the place. If you lived like in Arizona or something, this would look normal, that you'd have buttes all over the place, but it's like you're in the middle of the mountains. I can't hardly believe that there's that much lead and zinc just sitting on the ground out here. And something a lot of people aren't aware of is that the mines run under the town, and there is a major risk of sinkholes opening up here. And that was also a big part of why they made the town evacuate. It kind of sucked to be, taking a bath, and next thing you know, your entire house falls into a hole.
If you decide to come out here, you need to be really careful on where you go. The U.S. government owns all of this property. Right now, the Ottawa Tribe Police Department oversees this area, and they will not hesitate to arrest you if you go into some of these areas. You can tell which ones are blocked off really well. They will have the classic US government red, white, and blue no trespassing signs on them, and big blocks like this in the way. There are sinkholes in here. You can see part of the road up here is sinking, and it's extremely dangerous to go into, so stay out of those areas. So this is a prime example of one of the sinkholes. There used to be a house here, and you can't really see it, but that is a huge hole. Not gonna lie, it's big. I wouldn't step in that. There is no telling how deep it is. You have to be really careful out here. You know, the ground could give away at any moment in some spots. You just never know when or where it's going to happen. The lenses on cameras tend to really distort images. You don't really get a good perspective. And from where I'm standing, and like I said, the camera may show it differently. This is a huge, it's the size of a mountain is what it looks like to me. A mountain of industrial waste full of zinc and lead. So before going on this trip, I was asked, is it safe to come here? And the answer is yes and no. So long as I'm not getting into this water, I'm not playing in it, I'm not bathing in it, I'm not drinking, and I'm not rolling around in the dirt, I'm probably okay. I could go play on those piles, and I'd probably be okay. What you don't want to do is be exposed to it for long periods. Really no one on the streets. There's one large gorilla, guys. One large gorilla. Okay guys, this is the main creek that runs through the area. You can see chat piles over there. And this is a prime example of why you can't trust other people to have your best interest at heart. Seriously contaminated with lead and zinc. So, don't go swimming in this water and don't be drinking it.
Guys, I am by no means an environmentalist, and I typically don't like those kind of people. But this is sad. It really is. All right, guys, that's it for the Tar Creek super fun site. We'll see you next time.